What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another Marvel Future Fight video. Alright, so in this video here, we're going to be taking Storm in against Knull. So, yeah, kind of surprising one there, right? Storm against Knull. I hadn't really invested too much in Storm. Of course, I've had her at tier 3, but after I got her to tier 3, her movement speed, and she just got guard broken so easily that I just didn't really play her too much. But we had gotten our crystals from the content creator program, so I was like, what can I do with these? You know what? Maybe I'll put a rage on her and then I can just take it off since I have some extra crystals now. So I was thinking about doing that for a couple different characters, and Storm is the one that stood out to me as a first option because I just had a regular obelisk on her, so I didn't mind actually just deleting her current gear that she had on. Then I could put the rage on and I can unequip it, so I only lose 600 crystals, opposed to if I wanted to save whatever CTP or obelisk I had on her, then it would cost me a little bit more. So that was my first train of thought there. And then coincidentally, someone commented that they would like to see a Storm clear, because I was actually thinking this before they commented it. I was like, Storm would be a fun character to try with Rage. And now that I've already done the clear, because I'm just recording the intro now after already doing the fight, it was not that fun, actually. She suffers from many of the things that I just said at the beginning, mainly getting guard broken into oblivion. And my god, it is hard to do attacks with her against Knull. She just gets guard broken after guard broken, so you just never get any of your attacks off. And then the range on her third skill was screwing me over so many times. I didn't realize you had to be so close to Knull to use her third skill, because I'd be tapping the third skill and she'd just stand there doing nothing, and then I gotta bring her closer and then she can use the third skill. So quite a few things made Storm a difficult clear against Knull. She had the damage, so she had the damage. Her survivability was okay in terms of being able to take hits, except that her movement speed was so slow that she took too many hits, if that makes sense. So she could survive, a couple hits just fine. Unlike some other characters who get one-shotted or 2 or 3 hits and they're dead, Storm proved to be tanky enough to take hits. It's just she was so slow that once she did get hit, she couldn't get out of the guard break. She couldn't get away from the next hit, so she just took too many hits consecutively. So those are some of the downfalls for Storm here. But let's go ahead and take a look at my build on her, and then we'll hop into the clear and I can continue down that train of thought once we get over there. So we have a few Urus on her, just dodge Urus and crit rate Urus, and that's because, surprise, surprise, what I mentioned earlier, I put a CTP of Rage on her just to try her out. I should probably re-roll the CTP of Rage. The dodge and crit rate are quite low. Maybe that's why I had to put some Urus on her. For her Ice Weight set, we have Power of Angry Hulk. It is a stage 6, so not fully awakened. For her skills, we have, all of her skills fully leveled up. The gears there, so let's take a look at the details. She does have a crit rate buff, so don't worry about that 57% crit rate. She's always going to be maxed out because she has a 30% crit buff on her her third skill. So she'll always have max crit rate because that's up the entire time. And then our dodge was the one I was concerned about, so we got that pretty close to cap there at 73%. Wasn't investing too many resources in Storm because, like I said, I do plan to take the CTP of Rage off of her. I only put this on just for this video and just to try her out. But if you want to see her in some other content before I take off this Rage, then comment in this video down below. I'm not sure exactly when I'll take it off, so depending on when you see this video, if it's already been a couple weeks past, I might have already taken it off of her. But if there's something you want to see with the Rage on Storm, feel free to let me know. Oh yeah, her uniform is just sitting at rare, so I haven't fully upgraded her uniform or anything like that either. Yeah, so those are her stats. Let's go ahead and hop into the fight against Knull and see how she did. Alright, so here we are loading into the fight. We are using a full support team here for Storm. We have all DPS strikers except for Venom there because we do want the healing globs. So that is very important for Storm since she is very slow, so she's definitely going to be taking a lot of hits. So you need some way to top her up and keep her healthy. And then we have Star-Lord for leadership because Star-Lord's going to have the best leadership for blast types that we can use right now against Knull. And then we also have Valkyrie there for her tier 2 support, which is the best support for Knull because of that ignore dodge. And also I have a CTP of Insight on her, so we get extra damage that way as well. And full disclosure, this did take me a while to get this actual clear with Storm. It took me about an hour, I would say, of attempts, because I hadn't played her in a while, so I wasn't familiar with her skill rotation and what I needed to do to keep her alive against Knull. And you do have to play characters very specific, or you have to find a good pattern to play the characters, or play the character's skills and movements when fighting Knull in particular. So some of the other world bosses, you can, you know, just do a set skill rotation and get your damage proc lined up, or if you have rage, just to line up all of your buffs and AoE and residual damage. But with Knull, you want to focus more on positioning your character and also using your iframes to your advantage. Like as you can see, that tentacle's trying to stun and snare me by whacking me on top of the head there. I saved my 4th skill and my 1st skill because those have iframes to avoid that, because I've used that iframe properly, then I don't get stunned and I don't waste that 3 or 4 seconds that it has me stunned. So little things like that make a really big difference for Storm here. And then also just how I was playing her, because initially I was playing her for skills 1 through 5 to just do damage with those, so try to get the effects from 4, 2, and 3, and then I'd like to either proc on 1, or, well, not proc, but use 1 to get more damage towards the end of my rage activation. And I wouldn't really use 5 as much, I just cancel 5 just to get the points towards my tier 3 skill, and that wasn't actually working out too well. So what I found that actually helped me to beat Knull was actually focusing on the tier 3 skill. So just skill cancel as much as I can just to build up the tier 3 as often as I can and use that tier 3 as often as I can. So that was the main focus. I wasn't worried too much about actually getting the skills off 1 through 5 and having them land, as long as I could build up that tier 3 skill, because that accumulation makes a huge difference. You need that accumulation. So then I would use the tier 3 skill, and then one of the other changes I made towards the end of my attempts here with Storm is I started canceling the tier 3 skill. So I started canceling it when she looked like she was about to kind of blast the ground right there, and that was making a big difference as well in terms of her damage. So the canceling it just that little bit early for some reason, and then combining it with the other skills, I was seeing a lot more damage. So just those few little things right there helped me to be able to beat Knull. So that's one of the things you need to look out for when you're fighting Knull, is you need to start using the character's skills and kits to your advantage there. So you need to take advantage of the iframes, take advantage of positioning your character, because that was also something with Storm. She gets guard broken very, very easily. So kind of knowing which skill to use, so when I get guard broken I don't lose out on as much damage. So sometimes I would just do like 3rd skill, because you can instant cancel that one if I get guard broken. Then I would do the 4th skill so that I knew that I could get the 4th skill off, because I want that residual damage. And then the 2nd skill is a pretty short skill, so if I see he's about to do something that'll guard break me, I can still use the 2nd skill and get away with it. But yeah, just little things like that. So even if your character doesn't look like they're able to beat Knull, if you find a particular pattern or movement that you can use, you can actually be surprised at how much time you can gain just from that little bit. Because when I first started using Storm here after switching her to a rage, I was timing out. Like I was getting to kind of this point right here, but I was out of time. So by the time Thor would jump up right here with that hammer, the timer would literally be at like 3, 2, 1, and I'd just run out of time right there. And then after that, I started running out of time right here, where I wouldn't be able to kill Knull before he went to the, you know, insta-kill phase. So Storm barely has enough damage to get through this spot right here, because he is really, really close right now to actually activating his insta-kill, and I just barely make it here. So that's one thing that Storm does struggle with, is the last 7 bars. So I need to figure out a better way to deal with that. But overall, as you can see, we did get the clear with Storm. Again, it wasn't the easiest clear, but after I made some adjustments and played Storm a little bit more, tweaked her skill rotation, tweaked how I was positioning her when I was using skills based on what attacks Knull was using, it became a lot easier. I wouldn't say I'm going to use her as like a consistent clear or a daily clear for Knull, just because she is kind of a pain to use. I mean, maybe now that I've been able to practice with her, maybe it'll become easier, but I have much easier options than her. I was pretty much just using her here because I was just kind of curious. I wanted to give her rage and just see what she could do, but she's definitely not keeping this rage. I do have other plans for it. So yeah, this was just to kind of make this video here and then also just show the potential of Storm. And like I said, there was a little bit of interest for her as well. And I do like Storm as a character. So I figured, you know, why not? Let's give her a little bit of a spotlight here and see how she could do against Knull. I wasn't really convinced, or I didn't know when I gave her the raids that she would be able to actually beat Knull. So I was just planning on making this video regardless if she could beat Knull or not. So I was just going to show how far she could get, but she was actually able to beat him. And I believe we had like, what, 35 seconds left. But again, it's that last 7 bars. So even though she had 35 seconds left and might be able to do a stage higher, that last 7 bars is probably going to get her in the end there, because she won't really have the DPS for that. So I need to figure out a way, maybe saving the tier 3 skill, because we have the invincibility on that for that last phase, might be a key. But again, she needs that tier 3 accumulation and damage so much that I use that to get her to the 7 bars after the dragon phase, or else I really lose out on a lot of time, because he starts doing his attack pattern where he stuns you, he jumps in the air, he interrupts you. So there's a lot of things that just suck up your time right there. So kind of things you need to be aware of when you're fighting Knull. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video nonetheless, even though I started rambling a little too much there. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.